Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Heroes of Might and Magic 3 Tarred and Feathered. Here we are once again, having not swapped the boots over, so we're already getting the footsies play not so good. But I've been thinking about what we can do here in this mission, so I think we should level up Winona into pathfinding if at all possible. But alternatively, what we could do with her is build up backwater here to be a fort, and then construct the various dwellings to here to give her a fortress army. That could then circumnavigate this whole issue of running around on swamp, which obviously is quite arduous, and have her be a useful hero for us, because otherwise it's just going to be Henrietta doing everything. I have since confirmed that yes, this is actually intended for us to get these things, so we're going to have to make good use of them, because obviously the fact we've got all these troops means this mission's serious business, let's just put it that way, right? So, we'll have to take it seriously. There's some Couatls over here. Interesting. We'll see what that's all about in the future, but for now we'll quickly flag the lizard den. We won't take the troops just now, but we'll dispatch the vampire lords. The vampire lords have designs upon our flamer women. We're going to say no! Do not murder our flamer women. We'll have to throw grenades in your face. The ravine is not being very friendly to the fact I just ignored the fact I could use tactics, but we're okay. Alright, let's grab the centaur's axe, shall we? Do we want to do it with Henrietta is the interesting question, because obviously the centaur's axe is not going to be much for Henrietta, but it may be much for Winona. So, we're going to have to see what we can do with Winona to start. We'll probably just have her grab these artifacts and so on. But I'm just weary of the fact that if time is indeed of the essence, then, well, it's a good thing I've blocked this area off. We should, obviously just make as much progress as we can in the time we have. So we're going to do this spit next. You stand in front of an entrance to a mossy, overgrown residence. You hear creaks and growling from inside. Dare to enter? A pack of basilisks? Well, that's a nice 3,000 gold, thank you. Let's now purchase that fort. Basically built it from the debris from our destroyed airship, didn't we? But this will help us to construct the various dwellings that we need. Wyverns, of course, are quite cheap to get. That being said, we will need that lumber. It's a good thing we got the sawmill going. But we'll need to continue to gather additional lumber over time. Yes, getting backwater up and established, I think that's a good preliminary goal to clear the map. So let's have Winona move down in this direction. We've got here some wood, some mercury. There is a gazebo, which I'm going to use. An old knight appears on the steps of the gazebo. I will teach you all that I know to aid you in your travels. However, I'll let you know that a small donation to the Retired Knights League is required. 1,000 gold will suffice. I accept your offer. This gives us access to basic leadership, not exactly what we need for Winona, but we will accept the water magic level. But we get another option, interference again. Not what we needed for her, but was a good try. The scouting will, of course, be useful. Okay. Let's grab some additional resources. These troops right now are not going to be too useful. I don't know if the skull is something we want to grab on Winona. We'll figure that out next turn. But now we'll continue to press on with Henrietta. So that Medusae. They'll go down with no problem whatsoever. We will grab this lumber because we do require it to continue upgrading backwater here with additional structures, such as this knoll hut. Notably, it's 10 wood to make this knoll hut. Notably, we can't upgrade backwater here to have a town hall. We're limited to only producing 4 of the dwellings available here. But, we'll still do what we can, and this reed here is blocking us from building a shipyard, and that's really tragic. But nonetheless, we'll carry on. Tolmec 100 Thoughts spake.
Everyone in these woods has their own brand of truth. Legends say there are places where life is very different, and now I know you, I believe that to be true. Now, when your entire world is death, who will always be more patient than you? Today or tomorrow you will surely fall its prey. But until you do, you will do anything to carve out your own little spot under the sun. The tribes have been feuding for about as long as we can remember. Once upon a time, though, we were peaceful. We knew our ways to survive in these woods, to find food and a place to sleep and breathe safely. We had nothing to quarrel over, until there were too many of us. My tribe was called the Stone Children then. We ventured upon some deep caves beneath the Blue Claw Cliffs, cool and dry, and settled there. Our women gave us strong and numerous children, and it was easy for us to fend off predators and enemies there. Those not fortunate enough to find such a safe haven continued to live the old way, roaming the forests and cherishing every day on which no one died or got eaten, and within their hearts there grew jealousy and hatred for those who were able to break the eternal cycle. For us, there was no unity among them. There were several tribes, each with its own leader and its own customs and ways, and there had already been blood spilled between them. And there was yet one who gave them a common goal for the time being. They knew that they could be each other's throats before long. But typical HotA convinced them that they had to first stand shoulder to shoulder and wipe out the insult to the very essence of our kin. Us, Stone Children.
Let's wake up the mongoose. So it looks like there was some intrigue going on with the lizardmen. Let us test if this scholar knows something worth learning. Basic offense. Now, I believe Henrietta's already got... Well, what am I doing? She literally can't learn any skills, so literally anything useful that Winona can take, we should take. Like, that's the simple answer. Offense is a decent skill. We'll take it. I mean, I've already got the wisdom and the magic skills. It's really just pathfinding and, I guess, archery, but we'll see what the last options are. But, you know, we might as well take it. It's just going to make leveling some other things even slower, of course, but, you know, we'll take it. We'll grab the gold and press on. Of course, I've once again failed the footsies challenge, so that's a thing, I guess. The scouting radius of Winona is going to be useful over time. She'll be able to see far. Have you been far? Let's build the lizard den, shall we? That costs 5 wood. Excellent. We can now recruit lizardmen. Now we shall press on, having not swapped our boots out. We grab the ore. There's some fengarms here. And a charm of mana, cleverly hidden behind the foliage. The fengarms awed by the power of our forces, and we truly are awesome. Begin to scatter. We shall engage and pursue them. We shall start combat and do a full weight turn. And then Q enter. Behold! Q being the hotkey, by the way, for auto combat, quick combat. So you come upon a caravan of gypsies who are feasting and fortifying their bodies with mead. They call you forward and say, "If you prove that you can dance the rumba-boota, we will reward you." You don't know it, but you try anyway. They laugh hysterically, but admire your bravery, giving you a strange charm, which restores 1 extra spell point per day. Okay, we'll go grab this experience chest as well, or do we want the money? On Henrietta, the experience is not going to go fast. Let's just grab the money. There is potentially more resources in this location. There's certainly some lumber. There's a wyvern nest here, which could be interesting. Oh, it's a serpent dragonfly hive. So I don't know where I'm getting serpent from. It's a dragonfly hive. That's what I was trying to say. We'll defeat the storm elementals. And there's the expert luck we were talking about. Level 20 mercenary, Henrietta. She is the hired gun, that's for sure. Well, this direction seems vaguely interesting. There's even a fountain of youth.
Hello, guest. You remember me. I am Tulmek 100 Thoughts, the one who was to become the next great shaman of the belly-potent bloodied feathers, but ended up living a long, sad life without home, family, purpose, or caring for those he swore to serve. I have no descendants or apprentices, only few helpers, those who feel the emptiness in their souls and seek away from the tribe once in a while to be here and see our lost gods. I don't want to die before passing on the sacred bond of the feathered serpents to one willing to accept their friendship and exchange a part of his soul with them, even if to him they will not be living deities. The ritual that my ancestor performed to bond the souls of our tribesmen and the feathered serpents requires a great concentration of pain, sorrow, and hatred. I fear that not even the emanations let out by each and every victim of a great battle would suffice today, nor would you yourself want it at such a cost. But I know of an object that holds an endless sea of such feelings, accumulated over many and many great turns. The leader of the hostile Nightcrawlers, Practical Child Eater, is a descendant of typical HotA, the warlord who led all the tribes of the islands to battle against us, and who witnessed the gods answer the call and save our tribe from ruin. Only 1 in 20 warriors under typical survived the carnage, and HotA's soul absorbed the languor of each who died that day. When on his deathbed himself, he poured that black ocean into his great bottle bow. Oh, I think that's battle bow. That would probably make sense. And handed it to his son. Each of his descendants would do the same, but while still in the prime of his life, imbuing his weapon of choice with the ruinous power, and personally finish off his wounded warriors to add to it. Practical inherited the great woe of the crawlers, through the fang of the last scream, the battle claw that belonged to his grandfather. He was loath to wait for another few dozen turns until his time to take the chief seat, so he did away with his father and uncles, sicking a herd of frenzied gorgons on them during a hunt. He poured the black power from the battle claw into an amazing artifact, the spyglass. He got it from a pirate captain for a whole barrel of priceless bile extracted from rare ruby snakes, and he named it the HotA after his ancestor. They say he's been able to see the hidden and scry away through the ground ever since. There is no other way to explain why these cutthroats have been able to find and ravage caves of clutches and young bloodfeathers time after time without fail. Every time that happens, Bractal appears there himself, sucks out the eggs and devours the young lizard folk. I suppose you see how proud he is of its sobriquet. I think that's how you say that word. I feel strength and sincerity in you. The Couatls will surely be delighted to have new friends in you and your companions. Moreover, I will also be able to impart on you the most precious secret I've kept all my life. You'll become not only equal to our feathered gods, you'll be able to create them yourself. I will teach you how to spawn the great Crimson Couatl. They have been absent from the world for far too long, and I want to worship the embodiment of my tribe's former greatness once again before I die. Step into my hut. I have much to show you and explain.
Very interesting. So it seems that these Couatls were worshipped as gods by his tribe, but his tribe's been wiped out, and he's like, well, I might as well teach you how to make them, which is quite nice of him, really. Let's see what this Fountain of Youth has to say for us. You drink from the fountain's waters and feel young again. Sensing your renewed vigour, your army's morale improves, allowing you to recover additional loot ground as you head for your next battle. Just want to point out that our army's morale is improved by seeing how good looking we are. Let's just take that in for a moment. That's real. Let's go to the Seer's hut, shall we?
Come in. Now we will go to the cave beneath my dwelling, and I will introduce you to my friends. The soul-bonding ritual will be performed in our abandoned underground city, the Halls of Blood, northwest of here. For now, though, I will teach you how to forge a temporary bond of the Couatls. I will cast a minor enchantment on you, and you will need to show the Great Serpent a blood-colored crystal to help him sense a friend in you. I have 2 adult Couatls in my care now who I've nursed back to health after a confrontation with Practikal's hunters. They will be delighted to help you track him down. Once you've taken the HotA from him, head for the Halls of Blood. I'll be waiting for you there, and we will do what we are destined to do.
2 large rainbow-coloured feathered serpents emerge from the darkness of the cave and approach, attracted by the crystal's magical glow. They purr softly and stare at you with their golden eyes. Are you willing to accept their friendship? Do I want to care about keeping the serpent flies? I guess not. Then we'll take them. We'll just say goodbye to the serpent flies. We've got a dwelling right there anyway. So we got our first Couatls. They're so pretty. It's very interesting sort of design, I must say, that, the basic Couatls are like these rainbow serpents, very beautiful. And when they are upgraded, they turn into the crimson Couatls, which are less vibrant. They are more red, obviously a crimson tone, and have like sort of a Mesoamerican armor sort of thing going on. It's very interesting. As for the actual unit itself, it's sort of a fairly middling unit, like vaguely equivalent to an angel, but a little bit worse. And by that I mean a basic angel, not an archangel, because archangels are obviously absolute giga-chads. But hey, we have our first Crimson Coutl. Well, regular Coutl. Almost made a mistake there. And this time I'm going to remember to swap the boots! Yay! When you're playing this, remember to swap the boots. Oh, Tolmac 100 Thoughts spake again.
Back in those days, warriors knew honour. We could have stayed in our caves, protected by their walls. Still, Chieftain Pitchy Red Cloud led his army out above ground and began to prepare for battle. Our warriors were strong and skilled with sword and club, but Tepeckle had the bows. One of his eye sockets was empty. It was said that he got his eye torn out by the claw of a great feathered serpent. No one had ever survived a meeting of this creature, the strongest and most dangerous being of our legends, the Couatl. It really made no difference whether Tepeckle had indeed fought one, or had simply made up a tall tale to inspire awe in others. His other eyes saw well, too well. Not only had he mastered his insidious weapon himself, but he also trained several hundred warriors. Their bows were weak and they were poor shots, yet they still took out half of our best warriors before they even reached their ranks. Each of our men fought as if he were possessed by the great spirit of Quetzalcoatl. Never actually tried to say it before himself, but it was not nearly enough. They fell, and a dozen enemies pounced on each one who did, tearing our tribe's finest limb from limb, devouring their hearts, defiling and pillaging their bodies. The battle was not yet over, and already the strife had begun among them. Here and there on the battlefield, on the blood-soaked field, the skirmishes and squabbles were flaring up. But the 100 crawlers, Tepec's bodyguards, all mighty giants, each of whom had cut out an eye to mimic his leader, kept coming at the remnants of our army. Before long, they were bound to break into our caves and put an end to the stone children. Then my ancestor, the great shaman, Hudson Rock Mine, did what he had been preparing for all his life. He plunged a knife into his chest, chanted a spell, and turned his mind to the great serpent. His son, Zoki, yet to earn himself a proper shaman's name back then, pulled the blade out of his father's body, and the gushing blood sparked red rainbow in the rays of the setting sun. From the heavens came a many-voiced roar. The Couatls accepted Hudson's sacrifice and fell upon our enemies. Bloodied feathers. That was the name the remnants of my tribe took after that battle. The feathered serpents bathed in the blood of the crawlers and their allies, and my kin dedicated the future of the tribe to their saviors. There were too few survivors in Tepeckle's army to continue living on as separate tribes. They have been called the Nightcrawlers ever since, and their whole life is tracking and hunting over us and our living gods.
Look at how much extra movement we get when we do the boots properly. Let's grab the lizardman. Excellent. We'll also grab the centaur's axe. You see it had the axe embedded deeply in the ground. After several unsuccessful attempts by your army to remove it, you tightly grip the handle of the axe and effortlessly pull it free. Oh yes, that extra 2 attack skill will help us greatly. Let's grab the serpent flies. We've got to make up for our earlier losses. But yeah, so we're already learning a lot about the universe of this map. We have tribal conflicts and, of course, the Couatls serving a big role in that. Let's head down. We're going to grab the wood to just sort of speed up our progress in this area. We'll go via the water wheel. Can I grab this ore pit soon? I would like to. We'll defeat these acids here. We'll just do the good old late turn strategy. That may result in being hit. Mind you, I've got so much defense skill. Let's just do the full weight. Actually, that still did result in a dead automaton. That's okay. That's now going to result in a dead acid, but we just shoot it with the grenades. There we go. Now let's remember to do the boot swap. There we go. And let's not forget to construct a building. Let's go for the wyvern nest now. So now we have access to more powerful troops, which will help Winona get to be, you know, actually having some influence on the map. It's going to take us a little while to get through that, but we're working on it. More lizard dens will help, obviously. And then one thing I don't recall is what happens if you mix Cove troops and Fortress troops, because they're both native terrain swamp, so it might be fine and not incur movement penalty, or it might not be fine and definitely incur movement penalty. So we're going to learn together. But for now, let's end turn. We'll grab the Serpent Flies. What about here? We'll grab the experience. Nothing this time. The Throng of Oceanids might be a little bit tough for this current army, but we'll head back and we'll reinforce. So now we have the Orbit. This is excellent. We'll also grab the... We'll dispatch the Lizard Warriors. No problem there. We'll flag the Lizard Den. We won't recruit them, but we'll flag it. And we'll then defeat the Stormbirds. And we'll flag this dwelling as well. This will allow the troops to naturally accumulate over time, which will obviously be quite useful. So despite the fact we can't build a shipyard here at Backwater, there is stuff in the water that we would like. So that's a bit annoying. There's a subterranean gate there, so that's the first obvious sign of progress. There's also the dragonflies up here. There's another nest as well, so that could be potentially interesting. This looks like it's only accessible from the water. Oh, there's another pair of boots! That would obviously help a lot. That actually changes everything, to be honest. So, pro tip, don't forget to swap the boots. Don't miss these boots either. So this means we don't need to worry about difficult terrain at all, because we just have the different boots. So we can actually split our army in half and allow Winona to do some work on her own with, for example, the mechanical units here, and let Henrietta take the rest. That makes a lot of sense. That being said, I still would like to develop the Fortress army anyway, because it's just going to be useful backup squad, and these troops can be used to reinforce our main squad, because we're never going to get any more of these, obviously. So, yeah. But nonetheless, at least we now know what we're supposed to be doing. We'll still flag this first, but yeah. Slight oops. Let's continue to reinforce. We'll need some more mercury for the upgraded wyvern nest. We can get first aid tents of the blacksmith. The first aid tent is useful now, so that is a thing. But I also like to just have all the dwellings built out, get the citadel and the castle, just to make the number of troops we're producing on a weekly basis that much higher. But we'll get the Serpent Fly Hive first, because again, that's just another dwelling. Speaking of dwellings and people, this is a logistics man. Although, of course, it's never possible, like, is this a man or a woman? These are elves. It's impossible to tell. So, you know. I don't know if we necessarily need that particular person. Obviously, there's a lot of resources we can grab. And I suppose if Winona's being promoted to an actual useful character, then we can have someone else running around to grab all the things. But there's obviously serpent flyers for that as well. Let's proceed. So we'll flag the nest. Everything else can be grabbed by someone else. Isn't important. Let's not forget the boots, because we just took massive movement penalty there. So we'll head over here. Okay. Because we do need to get rid of these harpy hags. Let's not forget the boot swap. Okay, let's give the lizards back, because they're incredibly sluggish. Like, very sluggish. What will we build this turn? How about the Citadel? Ah, yes. More troops produced each week. Now, we can... oh, there's a boat there. Let's have Winona explore this direction. There's another nest. There's a lot of nests available. So that's interesting. We'll see what the quest guard has to say for itself. The quest guard is charging us not a ridiculous amount of money. So it's good to know that's there. I'm not going to go for it right this second, but we probably should put someone in the water just to grab all of the resources, because that's going to pay for itself pretty quickly. But the other point is we could also put Winona in the boat, and then she can do, like, shipyards and stuff. It's a lot to do. That much is clear. Oh, the rain started. I was trying to dodge the rain, because, like, you know, background noise. But, hey, it is what it is. We'll head in this direction for now, having forgot the boots again. It's a real challenge. Gotta be said. I can blame the rain, clearly. We'll grab this gold. We'll grab this ore. I'm sort of waiting for the boots to come back. Mind you, this terrain's not going to matter that much, but again, we're just waiting for the boots. For this turn, what are we going to build? First off, do you have a spellbook? You do. You do have slow. I don't know if there's a massive benefit from the Mage Guild. Could get the captain's quarters, I guess. Okay, we can't build a castle anyway. Pretty sure that required upgrading other things, so I suppose that makes sense, but yeah, okay. Citadels as far as we go. There's not that much to build that we can't already see right here. I suppose we could get the marketplace and then get the resource silo if that's really necessary, but at this point it's really just, you know, build up troops. So we can get the lizard warriors, because that at least just gives us an extra movement speed with those. Excellent. I mean, it's +1. Oh man, what the... Feel the speed. Alright, Henrietta. This time I'll remember your boot swap. How's that? I remember boot swap. Let's defeat the Harpy Hags. Excellent. And grab the boots. Oh yes. A second pair of boots. One for the feet, one for the hands. I guess there's 6 boots now. That's a lot of boots. But hey. You might as well get in a position to grab some fresh recruits next day.
100 great turns of the firmament ago, we believed that our islands were the whole world and that we, the bloodied feathers, were its rulers. Since then we have learned many things that would have shattered our ideas as to the order of the universe. In olden times we shied away from the bitter waters as they burned our skin, and only dire need could make us board our chiseled boats and travel between the islands. After the feathered gods came into our lives, we could ask them to carry us across the waters, and we were no longer afraid to travel. However, we never saw any other land than our own, and even if we flew up to the high into the sky, hugging the neck of a Coatl. Long after we left the halls of blood, we never suspected that there were other sentient beings beyond the bitter waters, though our legends had it that there was another land somewhere inhabited by those like us, and the kin of our gods dwelt there as well. We remained ignorant until an enormous boat came to our shores, one that we had never seen before. Strange, bare trees grew straight out of it, and a huge, tattered cloths hung from their branches. We watched the beings who had gotten off the big boat. Their stay at the islands was not long. They cut down a few trees, trimmed them, fitted them to the holes in the side of their vessel, and sailed away. I spent several weeks thinking about what I had seen and trying to explain the event to my tribesmen, but there was not enough time to form an opinion about those creatures I had seen. One day, several boats like the first one appeared at sea. 3 of them carried black cloths, and 2 others, dirty and sluggish, looked somewhat different. They were propelled by long oars. That day I realized that outside our land there was no peace. Of course it would be ridiculous to hope for that. Sentient beings nearly always have scores to settle with each other. The more of them are living nearby, the stronger the desire to go for it. Several dozen bound men were brought to shore from the oar boats. Others, like those who had come here the first time, made pens of logs, and the prisoners were placed there, urged on with blows and kicks. After a few days, other boats came and took them away, and ever since then, the ships would keep coming and going, and there was never a shortage of living goods in the pens. In the old days of the bloodied feathers, we would never have tolerated such neighbours. Our customs abhor imprisonment. We either kill a defeated enemy outright or release him if honour or higher considerations demand it. What we saw was repugnant to our whole being. But now we were weak and had to think of our future. To make new enemies whose strength and powers we had no idea of would be unacceptable. The eternal wall of the crawlers alone was draining enough. The uninvited guests never tried to get deep into our land, and we simply decided that we would avoid them. It was only much later we learned our enemies, much less scrupulous about their ties, had entered into dealings with the strangers. A few years ago I first saw ships like you, little woman, among the slaves who were brought here on the ships. Creatures like you, not ships. Before I met you, I thought they were cubs, but now I realize that the slave traders had never brought any children here. Apparently they cannot survive the journey across the bitter waters. There are few like you languishing in the slave pens even now.
Interesting. So our enemies, well, at least the enemies of the lizard friend who's just strolled up and said hi, have slave pens that we might perhaps be able to liberate the prisoners of. So let's do the most important thing before we wrap up. A, remember to swap the boots, and B, deliver the boots to So we're going to figure out what are we doing with these armies. So first off, have boots. Second, you're going to have the mechanical units, because these are a little bit more independent, and we'll have the organic units here on Henrietta. Plus there's the shooters on the shooting character anyway, so, you know, makes sense. And this means that this is a unit that can sort of still get things done, without needing necessarily the same level of spells to support it. Like, it's self-resurrecting, in other words. But hey, we'll call it there. Thank you for watching, and when we come back next time, more Heroes of Might and Magic 3.